Welcome, football fans, to Week 1 NFL predictions on Tim Reynolds Show as the 2024 NFL season kicks off with the Kansas City Chiefs taking on the Baltimore Ravens, where we have the Super Bowl MVP Patrick Mahomes taking on the 2023 MVP Lamar Jackson. And man, we should have one hell of a game in this one, as running back Derrick Henry, newly signed to the Baltimore Ravens, really should help out that Baltimore Ravens high-powered rushing attack, which is always good every single year. But with both of these teams having pretty even defenses, I think the Kansas City Chiefs, with their new weapons at the wide receiver position, should beat the Ravens on opening night and Thursday Night Football, as I'm picking the Chiefs to beat the Baltimore Ravens in Week 1. And then we move on to Friday Night Football, guys, where we got the Green Bay Packers taking on the Philadelphia Eagles in NFL's first ever game in Brazil, as we'll see quarterback Jordan Love, who has a newly fresh signed contract extension, taking on quarterback Jalen Hurts of the Eagles. And in this one, I got the Green Bay Packers beating the Philadelphia Eagles in Brazil on Friday Night Football. And then we move on to our Sunday slate, guys, where we have the Jacksonville Jaguars and their quarterback Trevor Lawrence taking on the Miami Dolphins and their quarterback, their newly signed franchise quarterback Tua Tagovailoa, taking on them down in Miami. And in this one, I got the Miami Dolphins beating the Jacksonville Jaguars, as I think this high-powered offense for the Dolphins with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle and Raheem Mostert in the backfield is going to be a lot for the Jacksonville Jaguars defense to take care of. And then moving on to the next game, guys, where we have the Dallas Cowboys taking on the Cleveland Browns in Cleveland. This will be Tom Brady's first ever broadcast game in the Fox booth there. I'm interested to see that. But in this particular matchup, I think the Cleveland Browns are probably going to struggle a little bit, because I don't trust Deshaun Watson right now until he proves it that he can run this offense good there for Cleveland. And even though Cleveland's got a stingy defense, I got to pick the Cowboys in this one, because I think they got the better playmakers there on the offensive side of the ball, and Micah Parsons should be able to match Myles Garrett sack for sack. And then moving on to the next game, guys, we got the Washington Commanders traveling to Tampa Bay to take on my Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And this will be Jalen Daniels, rookie quarterback's first start in the NFL, as he takes on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who have a very stingy defense and a lot of veteran players coming back, not only on offense but also on the defensive side of the ball. So in this one, guys, with a new head coach across the way for the Washington Commanders, I think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defeat the Commanders in this one in Week 1, and they open with a home win, as the Buccaneers usually will do. When we see, guys, next up, we got the Rams taking on the Detroit Lions. And guys, this is a playoff rematch where I think the LA Rams are definitely in for a big game against the Detroit Lions, but that Detroit crowd is always banging, and I expect the Lions to beat the Rams in this one to start the season 1-0. And then, guys, moving on to the next matchup, where we got the Arizona Cardinals taking on the Buffalo Bills. And man, in this one, I gotta go with the Bills, man. You gotta pick Josh Allen. I think he's definitely gonna keep these guys rolling on offense as far as Buffalo's concerned, and start out Week 1 with the victory over the Arizona Cardinals there in Buffalo. And then moving on to the next game, guys, we got the New England Patriots traveling to Cincinnati to take on those Cincinnati Bengals. And I think Joe Burrow and this offense is definitely going to score a lot of points and be able to defeat the Patriots easily, as I got the Bengals beating New England Week 1 of the NFL season. Then the next matchup, guys, we got the Minnesota Vikings traveling to New York to take on those Giants, as the New York Football Giants, I think, are still in a little bit of a rebuild, but Minnesota right now, with all their new pieces, is going to see how good they're going to do with their new quarterback, Sam Darnold. But in this particular matchup, I gotta go with the Vikings. I think they're going to be able to get the edge here. A close game, but I got the Vikings beating the New York Giants in Week 1. And then, guys, moving on to our next game, which I think will be one of the more interesting matchups of the weekend, we got the Tennessee Titans traveling to the Chicago Bears. And I think the Bears are ready to really show this high-powered offense they're going to have. And we already know they were pretty good on defense last year, and I expect them to be pretty good this year. But the Tennessee Titans team, with a new head coach and with their second-year quarterback, I think is going to struggle a little bit against the Chicago Bears team. So I got the Bears defeating the Tennessee Titans in Week 1 of this particular matchup. And then, guys, moving on to our next one, we got the Carolina Panthers taking on the New Orleans Saints. Now, these two teams in the NFC South definitely don't have really good rosters overall. They're pretty even matchups as far as I'm concerned, as far as this team and this particular match goes. And I think that the New Orleans Saints are going to defeat the Carolina Panthers, who are still in a little rebuild, in this one in week 1. And then we're moving on to our next one, guys, which is our Pittsburgh Steelers taking on the Atlanta Falcons. And this one should be a pretty even matchup as well, but I'm going to give the edge to the Atlanta Falcons with their newly signed quarterback, Kirk Cousins, at the helm, a veteran guy that should help this offense out. I think they'll be able to score more points than the Pittsburgh Steelers will, as I got the Falcons winning week 1 against the Steelers. Then we go ahead to our next matchup. I got the Houston Texans taking on the Indianapolis Colts in Indianapolis at Lucas Oil Stadium, and I really do think the Indianapolis Colts are going to have a tough year this year, as I'm picking the Houston Texans to defeat the Colts in Indianapolis in week 1 of the NFL season. CJ Stroud is going to be one of the top quarterbacks in the league, and he starts by proving it this year and proving it with this game. And then, guys, we're going to our next game of the night. We got the Las Vegas Raiders taking on the LA Chargers. This is a good even matchup, I think, as well. It could go either way, but I think I gotta go with the Chargers in this one, who I think have a slight edge on defense over the Raiders do, but we'll have to see. This could be a very, very close game to look at. And then moving on to our next game, guys, where we got the Denver Broncos traveling to take on the Seattle Seahawks. And on this one, man, I gotta go with the Broncos. Why? I think rookie quarterback Bo Nix is definitely going to keep this offense rolling, and I think he's going to be able to score more points against that Seattle defense with their new rookie head coach as well. I think this definitely picking the Broncos to beat the Seahawks in week 1. And then the next matchup, guys, is our Monday night matchup, where we got the San Francisco 49ers taking on the New York Jets. And man, Aaron Rodgers is coming back, hopefully stays healthy a full season, as I can't wait to see him match up against this San Francisco defense. But how can you pick against San Francisco right now? They're stacked literally on both sides of the ball, and I'm not picking against Brock Purdy, who led the league in QBR last year. I'm picking the San Francisco 49ers to defeat the New York Jets on Monday Night Football. And this has been your week 1 NFL predictions from Tim Reynolds Show. Please like and subscribe to the channel for more. Thank you guys so much for helping support this football sports channel. I appreciate it. You guys have a great night. Peace out, everybody. The 2024 NFL season is back, baby, and it kicks off this weekend. Let's go.